All right, and welcome on my next guest. We've got Los Angeles Chargers running back Austin Ekeler. Austin, has everything going for you?
Zach, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much for taking the time. So, how's the offseason going for you so far?
It's been busy, man. It's been really busy. Got a lot of stuff going on. Really trying to, just focus on implementing myself in the community. Obviously, stay in shape, get ready for this season, and continue to build.
And speaking of implementing yourself in the community, can you talk about? I know you did some cool stuff over in Santa Barbara and kind of help build a fitness center.
Right. Yeah. I built a gym for Santa Barbara High School. They have 2,200 students, and I think they had one gym that was working and one that was like not really working, and so they definitely had a need for that. And really, I did that through the Austin Ekeler Foundation. And the reason I started the foundation was really to help people like myself growing up, which it's like a little backstory. So like for me, I grew up in a really small town. I had resources for sure, and those resources allowed me to pick and choose what I wanted to be involved in, whether it was sports or my academics, which were two things I took seriously. And just the fact that I had gyms, the fact that I had rec centers, things like that, all the tools to help me be successful in my education really allowed me to really just isolate down what I want to do, where I see myself in the future. And so through the Austin Ekeler Foundation, I'm really trying to help kids like that places, but maybe in places where they don't have as many resources, right? So they don't have as many opportunities to really explore what they really like and what they don't like. And so it's going to be a nationwide foundation, trying to do as much as we can and to implement communities, just to help people, not just the youth, people in general, about mental health, physical health, their social life, and then their motivations, is really trying to just trying to get people so they understand, or maybe don't understand, and then they can educate themselves, and then they can understand what they want to do in their life, and then at least progress towards some type of fulfillment.
And I also saw on your website all the merchandise and apparel, all that goes to the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you go to, I think it's Austin Ekeler / shop, austineckler.com is where you can find
Yeah.
the page to find the all of the apparel that goes, everything goes to the foundation. So you're helping all the projects that we're going to be doing across the nation.
Yeah. And I also want to ask you about, so on the first night of the draft, it's not just Greeny who's going to be hosting it. You've got a little event going on, the Triple G, the GGG Draft Day streaming event. You talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually look back up a little bit and talk about just streaming in general. So I've been streaming on Twitch, which is known as like a gamer platform, but I don't really do gaming on there. I have a company called Gridiron Gaming Group, but the reason I started the company is because I started connecting with my community on Twitch during season, and I just saw all the benefits of just being able to interact with people. It kind of gives the community a deeper connection to you. And so I started the Gridiron Gaming Group and wanted to help other people also do that, by giving them resources to make their stream the best that it can possibly be, and also host these bigger events like you mentioned during the draft. So there's the traditional way to watch the draft, which is like the more technical side where you're seeing like the numbers and stuff like that. And so I was like, let's do a little play off of this. And so we're going to be watching the draft, not directly the draft because we don't have the rights, but it'll be somewhat of a layout where you can follow and you can see the picks and stuff on our page. But it'll be a big social event. So we'll have someone from that team or an influencer who's a really big fan of that team, kind of talking during the 10 minutes of talking with me and my other host, Jordan Schultz, talking just about life, talking about their foundation, talk about what they have going on, talking about the team, their off season. And it's just really a place for them to plug, and we can just talk a different angle about, the team that's up and drafting. And then we'll just continue to go down. There'll be some giveaways that people can win for watching and stuff. So big social event.
That's awesome. And speaking of gaming, so I was watching the little special you did for GQ a couple months ago, and one thing I picked up from it is, so you traded in your controller for a keyboard. When that happened?
Right. So I made the transition. Yeah. Probably 3 years ago, from, because I used to just be on Xbox, and then I was like, no, let's get some PCs going here, because I had some teammates that were on PC, so they inspired me, and it was a grind for sure. Trying to make that transition is very hard, but now I got it down. I got all my fingers, I got the muscle memory, stuff like
That's
that.
awesome. That's awesome. Are there any other guys in the league that are big gamers, such as yourself, or not really anybody as big as you?
No, there's definitely big gamers, bigger gamers than me. Like, I play League of Legends, which there's not a lot of NFL guys that do play that, and I don't think there's any NFL guys that stream it. But I know as far as streamers too, Mike Williams. I have a couple of my teammates, Avante Maddox, Mike Williams. Well, Avante's not my teammate; he plays for the Eagles, and then Boston Scott plays for the Eagles as well. But Justin Jones, Mike Williams are some of my Gridiron Gaming Group guys. that are also in the league. But we have like Connor Daly, who's an IndyCar driver. We have Alicia Gray, who's a WNBA player, and then Tommy Canley, who's a pitcher for the Dodgers. So we got a lot of different athletes in a lot of different spaces. But yeah, gaming is just a part of just athletics and just everyone, not just athletics, just like I feel like in every aspect you can find some sort of gaming in people's lives.
Are you a Madden guy or strictly League of Legends?
I can't stand Madden. My life is Madden, right? Like I live real Madden, so I don't want to go home and then continue to play football even when I just got done playing football for 12 hours. Yeah. I need a little break. I need a break.
Was it surreal when the first time you checked on Madden and you saw your picture on the roster?
It was pretty cool. Definitely was really cool. Still is really cool. I don't take it for granted. I'm in a video game. That's awesome. I love that. People get excited about it, and I love that people are getting excited about it. Like it could be the alternative, and I could not be in it, right? And so yeah, I embrace it. Like the fantasy football stuff like that. Like I embrace all of that support because that's part of the community, right? That's around my name as far as me playing as an NFL player. And so I'm trying to capture as much of that community and show them that they should like me for other reasons.
I have a question. How many mentions regarding fantasy football do you get on a week in a regular season?
A lot, a lot more than I do for like Charger people say, hey, I'm excited for the Chargers. Yeah. Cause I love it. I love it too, because guess what? Like as an NFL player, we have all this gear on, right? And so it's like, it's a new way for people to, well, it's not new. It's just a different way for people to engage and see our face and be like rooting for us, even though they might not be a fan of the Chargers. They don't have to. If they have their own fantasy team, they want to win. They're going to have Austin on their team, and so they're going to see me on their team.
Yeah. So I want to ask you your thoughts on the Chargers offseason so far. So you got new coach, Brandon Staley. Kind of want to get your take on what do you think he can bring to the team and kind of like your expectations for next season?
Yeah, I think he's going to bring just a new way of going about the season, right? I've kind of been in the situation with Anthony Lynn and his coaching staff, and I've known his way, and that's basically the only way I've known in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to just seeing a new opportunity with a new coach, see what the heck we can get done, see if we can build some chemistry with this kind of just, untraditional offseason that we've been having with COVID and everything. It's definitely going to challenge us, but we're up for the challenge. That's what we get paid to do. We get paid to adapt and still perform at a high level. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of work. Yeah, don't get me wrong. And no, there's no telling what's going to happen. I can't tell you we're going to be great. I would like to tell you we're going to be great, but we might suck. I don't know. That's the work that we have to go put in, and we got to go find out, right? So that's why we do all this work. That's why we go through all these meetings. And I'm just excited for the new opportunity around the new coach who really, just enjoys and likes to be around players and loves the relationship. So looking forward to growing that with him.
How are you doing? Are you ready for training camp? Healthy or good to go?
I wouldn't say training camp. Let's not jump that far ahead. That's still a few months out, but definitely healthy, definitely very strong right now. And then I'll be slowly transitioning into football shape as training camp gets closer.
Cool. I want to ask you, so obviously your teammate, Justin Herbert, had a remarkable rookie season. What was like watching just him kind of break out and just seing all his
it was great. It was great seeing his progression, and I think it kind of just shows, the character of him as a person. He's just a guy that really wants to come to the team. He wants to work out. He wants to hang out with the guys, and I love that. He's not about himself. He definitely puts a lot of pressure on himself, which is what, I love to see out of just any competitor. Because I think you're going to push yourself harder than any coach or any, family member, friend can. And so I'd love to see that out of him. Definitely a competitor, definitely wants to win. And, it was cool to see his development from, the beginning when I was playing. Then I got hurt and came back, and I saw just the progression that he made while that time that I was out, which was like 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And so looking forward to being his backfield buddy, protecting him and catching some checkdowns this year.
Yeah. So I want to ask a couple questions about your career a little bit. What kind of offers do you have coming out of high school?
Man, for me coming out of high school, bro, I felt like I got shorted, like just to the ultimate disrespect. Just because my junior year, I had a good season. My senior year, I had 2,300 rushing yards, like 43 touchdowns. So I was scoring like 4 or 5 like touchdowns every single game. And I did not have one Division I school come talk to me. I didn't get it, but hey, I had to deal with it. I had to move on and press forward, right? You can't sit around and cry because hey, life still goes on whether you're happy or not. So ended up, just lowering my expectations. Looked at the offers that I was getting or not even the offers, just the attention. It was mainly from D2 people. And then the only offer I got was from Western State, and everyone else they probably would have offered me, but they wanted me to play different positions. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So you just wasting your time. So Western State finally came and was like, hey, we want you to play running back. And then we developed the relationship there and finally got an offer.
What position they want you to play?
So yeah, some teams wanted me to come on as an athlete and just kind of see where I fit in. Like maybe you're a corner, running back, receiver, we'll see. Some teams wanted me to play corner, a couple teams actually. And then there was a D1 AA that wanted me to as a preferred walk-on as a corner. I'm just like, I'm not playing corner, you guys. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to play corner. And so I went to Western State and started all 4 years and dominated the RMAC.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who was the first person outside of you telling yourself that said you can play in the NFL?
Probably my head coach, because he was Danny Woodhead. He used to play for the Chargers, but he was his special teams coordinator when he was at Shadron, because we played in the same division. And he's like, you really remind me of Danny, and I think you'll have a shot at least getting into like a training camp. So, yeah.
And then so that draft process, you get invited to the combine, anything, or you just kind of make a name?
No way I'm getting invited to the combine. I mean, I dominated for sure the Division II, but just as far as like the exposure that I was getting from my town and just the talent level, as scouts like to say, they didn't see it as anything that was like really comparable to anything else. So I was really a roll of the dice for anyone to take a chance on. So I didn't get invited to any of that. I couldn't even do my pro day at my own school because it's so high in the mountains or the elevation where there's snow like almost year round. Right. So I had to go to CU Boulder to do my pro day, and I did my pro day after, like, I was like the add-on after the CU pro day.
That's awesome. Did you reach out to Danny beforehand to say, hey, do you think what do you think about my fit with the Chargers?
No, I didn't reach out to Danny at all. He'd been playing in the league, but all I needed to hear was coach say. And then also my senior year was there was scouts like basically every one of my practices, and I'd never seen a scout up there before in my 3 years leading up to my senior year. So I was like, wow, this is actually legit. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for guys this end of this month that are going to go undrafted to kind of make a name for themselves and not kind of like just kind of keep grinding?
Absolutely. I would say do what I did, and I dropped out of my last year of college just to focus on football. I dropped it, and it's like, you know what, I can come back and finish school later, but this opportunity is the utmost important to me at this moment. And that was just the way I saw it. It's definitely different for everybody, but for me, I was like, this opportunity is an opportunity for me to set my life up in ways that I can't even imagine. And I'm going to make sure I do everything in my power not to be distracted with school, anything else besides training for the opportunity and training to make this team. And I would say go all in. And look, we're young, especially going to the NFL. We're young. You got plenty of times to catch up on what you might have missed in school. I'm not saying drop out. I'm saying that's what I committed to. I committed to it all the way. But I'm saying you can always go sit behind a desk, you can always go do that, but you can't always play in the NFL. So you have this limited window, and just make sure you take advantage of every opportunity that you can, because you won't regret it if you get here and you make a name for yourself.
Then I want to ask you, I saw you had a wild job either in high school or college. You were like a tour guide, like on the river.
I was a raft guide.
Raft guide. What's that like?
So yeah. My first job ever, man. It was crazy because the day I graduated high school, I packed my truck up and I was getting out of my town. I was like, I'm out of here. I gotta go do bigger, better things. And I say that, and I go into Western, which is also another small town. But anyways, in my mind, I was like, I'm out. And so I actually had a job set up because I was gonna need some type of income for the summer. Because I wasn't on scholarship yet before school started. And so, the 2 days after I graduated, went up there, I had this training for whitewater rafting up in the Taylor River with Three Rivers Resort, and did that for one summer. And it was like my little summer job, just learning about the valley, learning about my school, and then hanging out with people from Texas and Oklahoma that were coming down to raft.
That's wild. What's your wildest rafting story from
my wildest rafting story? Probably when I dumped this guy. I think he was like 65. It was terrifying. Like this older gentleman, like I hit this rock and he just plummets in the water, like going through these rapids. And I'm trying to get my boat, and there's like the rapids, it's not just like straight down river. It's like left, right. So he's like going down the river, and I'm like, I can't catch up to him because he's going faster than my boat can go. And finally he catches up with the boat in front of me, which is probably like 40 yards down the river. I'm just like, oh my God. And I like, is this guy okay? I can see him, so I know he's like above water, but everyone's freaking out because it's like their grandfather, right, in the water. And he finally gets stopped by the boat in front of us, finally get him back in our boat. We had the same hat too, and he lost his hat. So I was even bummed about that. But that was probably the most terrifying place and time that I had rafting. I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if this is for me.
Was he there? Was he back next week? He's like, that's the most fun I've had since.
No, he's like, can I get out? I was like, no, you can't get out because you have to walk if you do. And so we just put him in, let him dry off, and it was, at least it was a sunny day that day, dried off, and hey, he was a little sore, but hey, it'll be a story he can tell his grandkids now.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. You see that guy who won your fantasy matchup? Yeah, you almost killed me. That's unbelievable. So I want to ask you, catching on with the Chargers. Obviously, you have an established starter in Melvin Gordon, and you're just trying to kind of make a name for yourself. What was that like, just kind of grinding out to kind of get your shot?
Yeah, I feel like in my mentality, I was always a starter. I was always a starter, whether I was number 2 on the depth chart or 3 on the depth chart. It didn't matter to me because I had a role on the team, and early on it was special teams, right? That's how I made my team. Okay, I start in my special teams role. I start in my backup role, and that was my mentality going in. I was not a backup. Like I'm coming in, and I'm gonna go make plays on the field. And that's exactly what I did. And, continued to just build off of that. As I continued to make plays, I continued to get more and more opportunities. And I just continued to grow and grow until I find myself right now. Now I'm a starter. Now I'm trying to help these younger guys. I'm trying to pull them. Come on, guys, make plays. Let's go. And so that's my mentality. Whether even if I was put back to number 2 for whatever reason, I'm still a starter in my head, right? And I think that's the mentality we all have to have. If you're really bought in, passionate about something, you go all in on it.
Yeah. And that 19 season, you almost had 100 catches. What was that season like?
Hey man, I just kept getting opportunities, right? Philip, his play style, it was that just, if I don't have anything down the field, I'm checking it down or throwing the short pass. And so that really fed into, just me just being available for him and me getting the ball in space and making plays with it. And I continued to grow on that throughout the season. I got more and more balls and I just started snowballing it. And then, I ended up almost getting 1,000 yards. I was still salty. I was 7 yards short, but hey, it is what it is.
You're like looking at for a stat correction at the end of the year. Like,
oh man. In the last game, we knew we were making the playoffs, and Philip is trying to give me the ball. We're playing the Chiefs. He's trying because he knows he's trying to get me the ball. But the Chiefs took one of their D linemen out and put a linebacker in, and they were double teaming me, and they would not let me catch a ball on him, so I could not get my 7 yards. But hey, it's all good. It's all good.
How many of his kids' names? How many of his kids can you name?
0. I have not hung out with his family. They were, because here's the thing, they were in San Diego, right? Okay. So if I was in San Diego, I probably would have met them, but we moved to LA and they stayed in San Diego. So they weren't around. I saw him one time, and that was like when I was a rookie before I even made the team. And I thought he was doing like a meet and greet with people because I didn't know that was his family. And he had like 6 kids running around with him. I'm like, oh, he's like doing like some like tour or something. And he's like, hey, like, what's up, Ek? I was like, hey, what's Phil doing? I asked someone else, like, oh, that's his family. I was like, no. Like what? Like wait, what? Yeah, he's like, oh, he has like 8 kids at that time. Now he's got like 10. But I was like, wow, okay, big family man.
Do they have like a bus? What do they do?
Yeah, they have like a Sprinter, like one of those big like Mercedes like Sprinters that has like 3 rows of seats. That's
wild. I have a question. When you get the monster contract as a guy who's coming into the league undrafted, what was that like for you? That just kind of that moment, like, all right, I made it.
I felt like it was like part of the progression, right? Like I felt like I was really going along this path, and I was like, okay, well, my contract's up. I've been playing well, with the Chargers. I've done well in the community. Like I'm making a name for myself. I'm making plays. I'm being consistent, right? And like, what else do you want in a player? And like, it came down just to a situation with Melvin. He was up and I was up. I was like, who do you want? Like, and they ended up not coming to an agreement with Melvin, so they looked to me and they're like, hey, can we get something done? And then we finally got something done. A little bit more long-term. And yeah, it was just like the next step in my path. I felt like it was just, what was to come.
That's awesome. Let's go one last question for you, because I know you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Are there any guys we should be keeping our eyes on at the draft this year that maybe might go undrafted that we should remember?
Ooh, I wish I could tell. If I could tell you that, I would be a scout too. Do 2 times. Because here's the thing. Like with me, like something you can't measure. You can't measure someone's determination. You can't measure the mentality. You can't measure their heart, right? Like I don't know. But just for me, like they didn't know that they were getting a guy that was going to be all in, dropping out of school, making sure I'm doing everything to not mess up my opportunity. Yeah. I'm going to do everything to train and get you can't measure that. All they can measure is what I can see on film. And that tells you nothing about me as a person, right? And so even if you sat down with me as a person, you might be able to get a little gist of me, but you don't know who I am. You don't know how I work. And so that's the thing that really goes on under the scene, right? Is people's determination mindset to get out of the situation they are and better themselves. And so I feel like that is more of a skill than actually like just like putting up good film, because that's gonna transition with you throughout your entire life, right? It's not just football. It's more than football when it comes to that point.
Yeah,
But
that's one last question. One last question for you. What was it like being on Hard Knocks? Because if I remember correctly, you weren't really in it much.
I mean, Hard Knocks was different because we had COVID, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they were like social distance from us. They were like, trying to just be as discreet as they could, which they did a really good job. I actually didn't notice them because there was no media this year, so they were the only ones with cameras around, which usually there's a lot more. So it was kind of just relaxing, chill, like a little Hard Knocks, go through another training camp, try to do the best we could that season.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, do appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah.
chat. Your event is the first night at draft. It's the 29th. I think I saw
Right.
5 o'clock Eastern time on Twitch.
Yeah, whenever the draft starts on March or April 29th, we'll be up live as well on Twitch at Austin Ekeler. Austin Ekeler on Twitch. Catch us there. Come win some giveaways. Come hang out.
Cool. And then the Austin Ekeler Foundation, I'll link everything to it so people can go find out, get some of the merch, check it out, and see some of the great work you guys are doing.